Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Albaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Albaugh.
Good morning across the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. I'm Todd Albaugh. It is Wednesday, Hump Day, April 19th, 2023. Happy to have you along. Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer, engineer on the board. It is the middle of the week, Mr. Zommers.
Hump Day!
There it is, the Geico Camel.
You need it. You need the camel.
You need a camel.
And yeah, once again, always really good to hear from Trygve Olsen. And he told us explicitly over the break, but even besides that, you can tell he's always just having a good time on Wednesday mornings.
Right?
And that adds a lot, I think.
I think so. I mean, he's a Wisconsin guy, grew up in Black River Falls area up there, still gets here quite a bit. So, yeah, I think you can always tell when someone is enjoying the conversation and when they care about it, right? That's the other thing. I mean, Trygve is he's on national news shows, international news shows. He's done international work on democracy, done national campaigns across the United States, advising people across the United States on saving democracy.
But he's truly still a Badger boy.
But he's still a Badger. And he's still a Packer guy. And he's still a Brewer guy. He still comes on our show once a week. So it means a lot to me. I appreciate Trygve very much and appreciate what I love is his insight. I mean, he's been around enough and done enough things that he give that perspective that few people are able to give. So I hope that is passed on and each and every one of you enjoy it as well. Coming up this hour, we're going to be breaking down a little bit more on this Fox News and Dominion lawsuit and kind of looking at what did we really learn here. As Trygve said last hour, it would have been great from just a transparency standpoint to actually be able to hear Rupert Murdoch and Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity on the stand under oath. Would have been great, but we're not going to get that opportunity. But there are still other lawsuits out there, not the least of which is the My Pillow guy, a lawsuit against him. And
what did he do?
Well, I mean, he also perpetuated the lies.
Gotcha.
And just the spreading of misinformation through his company, actually, the pillow company. Which
make pillows.
By the way, which is doing poorly, is what I hear.
Is that so?
It has not gone well for the My Pillow people.
I mean, any made-for-TV product in this day and age needs to be really good to survive.
Right. I had a friend of mine, his mother actually bought the My Pillow sheets. And I said, how were they? And he said, less than average.
The pillows are not too bad. My mom bought some a while ago because she has had a long life of, back issues and stuff, and just trying to find something that is the right firmness and support. And she tried it, and it wasn't bad.
Really?
It's a unique pillow with the chunks of memory foam and stuff. However, this was before his politics were known.
Right, this was very good. Yeah, very good. I wouldn't be buying My Pillow products now. But, to each their own. But, yeah, that lawsuit's coming up. So, anyway, the point is many of the things that were brought out during discovery and through the pretrial investigation is able to be used in future lawsuits against Fox News. So, we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, D-Day 2 is coming. No, not that D-Day, but the debt ceiling day is coming again. We'll take a little bit of a look at the nation's finances as well. And your phone calls, 715-388-7155. Again, 715-388-7155. How do you feel about Dominion settling out of court? Are you okay with that? Or do you wish that Dominion would have gone through the full trial and we could have heard the whole darn thing? How do you feel about that? 715-388-7155. Again, area code 715-388-7155. We'd love to hear from you this morning on the program. First of all, take a look at weather forecasts across the state of Wisconsin. First of all, starting in the southwest in Richland, central Wisconsin, WRCE. Forecast for today, showers likely, breezy, and a high of 51. Then for tonight, a scattered shower and thunderstorm is certainly possible. More rain towards morning, a high making a low of 42. Then for tomorrow, Thursday, going to be a rainy one. 90% chance of rain in the RC tomorrow. Breezy, a high, though, of 64 degrees. That will perhaps make those mushrooms start to pop. A little early yet. You never know when a morel mushroom may be making its way up through the magical ground in southwest Wisconsin. Up in Wausau, central Wisconsin, WXCO Bull Falls Radio, 100% chance of a wintry mix, probably freezing rain right now up there in Wausau. Drive carefully. A high today of 39 degrees. Then for tonight, an 80% chance of showers, a low of 37. And then for tomorrow, Thursday, rain once again, and a high of 52 degrees tomorrow in Wausau. Over in Amory, northwest Wisconsin, WLAK, Lake Air Radioland, 70% chance for showers and perhaps a thunderstorm this morning, diminishing to 20% this afternoon, a high of 41 degrees. Then for tonight, a 90% chance of showers, a low of 36 degrees. And tomorrow, Thursday, showers will continue and a high of 49. So take your umbrella with you, is what I was trying to say. Umbrella, rain boots, raincoat, whatever you have, keep it with you for the next few days. It's going to be a rainy one across the state of Wisconsin. When we come back, a couple of news headlines for you, including a tragedy in Marquette University. And we'll tell you about that according to our Civic Media News after this. This is the Todd Allball Show, and this is the Civic Media Radio Network. Welcome back to the Todd Allball Show of the Civic Media Radio Network. It is now 9:15, quarter after 9, the time and temperature sign. Glad to have you along with us on a Wednesday, the 19th of April, 2023. Some breaking news this morning, courtesy of our newsroom here at Civic Media from our news anchors down at WAUK in Waukesha this morning. A student was found dead inside of a residence building at Marquette University on Monday night. According to a release, the Marquette University Police Department said that the student was found unresponsive after 9:30 on Monday at the Cobean Residence Hall. Despite life-saving measures, the student was pronounced dead inside the residence building. Police said there were no signs of trauma on the student, but did not release a cause of death or identify the student. An autopsy will be conducted by the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office. Again, out in Milwaukee, our WAUK station this morning, a student found dead inside of Cobean Residence Hall at Marquette University on Monday night. Certainly our thoughts and prayers are going out to his family, or their family, and also their friends, the staff, and everyone at Marquette University. We hear this all too often. UW-Madison now, I believe here in Madison, we are unfortunately up to 3 students who apparently had taken their own lives this spring here at the UW-Madison campus. Hasten to add, there's no indication that what happened at Marquette was death by suicide. But I think it's a great reminder, an unfortunate reminder, but a good reminder, that if you are under stress or you know someone who is under stress, and you need to talk about something, anything, pick up your cell phone, any phone, and simply dial 988. That is the mental health hotline, the crisis hotline that was fostered through the U.S. Congress by U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin. It's going to be one of her legacy pieces of legislation. And I would say this whether it was a Republican or a Democrat. I don't care. Anybody who does something like this deserves credit for it. And so, I don't know why. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I can't explain why. But I know oftentimes in changes of season, spring, in fall, sometimes on the holidays, for whatever reason, we experience this heightened anxiety. And people feel that there's no way out. Remember what Channel 3 news anchor in Madison here, Susan Simon, told me years ago via a tweet. You can get through anything as long as you know you're not alone. You can get through anything as long as you know you're not alone. 988. Write it down. Pass it on to someone who you think might be struggling today. 988. The number to call if you need to talk to someone, the mental health crisis hotline. 918 now. Want to change over to a little bit of a analysis, if you will, on this Dominion voting machine and Fox News settlement. And great analysis here by Oliver Darcy of CNN this morning. With historic settlement, Rupert Murdoch has paid the price for Trump's election lies. Again, unfortunately, we're not going to know all the juicy details. And, yes, there is a bit of a schadenfreude. Schadenfreude, of course, the German term for kind of getting a little bit of joy out of someone else's pain. There's a little bit of schadenfreude on my part seeing Fox News suffer. And the reason is that, as we talked about with Trygve Olsen last hour, and if you missed it, go back and listen to our podcast, thanks to Mr. Aaron Zommer's fine work and uploading all of our half-hour segments or hour segments onto a podcast form. Go to civicmedia.us for that. But you go back and listen to what Trygve said, and it's just this unfortunate vortex that people have got drawn into. And for some folks, that's all they listen to. And so this entertainment, these lies, become truth to them. And it's really unfortunate. Because some of these people are not necessarily, they're most of them, I would say, they're not dumb people, not terrible people. It's just they get in this vortex and that's all they listen to. Trygve's mom, he just said, one of those people, all she listens to or watches is Fox News. Had basically no idea this Dominion lawsuit was going on. So one of the reasons I really wanted this trial to come forward is to have some of these key players like Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity who get up or go on every night and sit in front of the camera and come into people's homes and they look right into the camera and they tell a bold-faced lie, which they know is a lie, but they do it anyway because they want their ratings, because they want to get paid more. It all comes down to the dollar sign, as Jack O'Neill says. He's right. And I thought maybe if people see Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity in a courtroom on a stand under oath, and they're asked pointed questions where they essentially have to admit that they know the things they saying are lies, maybe that would convince some folks that, geez, I guess Fox isn't a truthful organization. But now that won't happen, at least not in this case. But all is not lost. And in this article this morning by Oliver Darcy of CNN, he says, the big lie came at a price. The astonishing last-second $787.5 million settlement between Fox News and Dominion Voting Systems, which came after the jury had been seated and on the brink of opening statements yesterday, served as a stark reminder that lies do have consequences. The country suffered the consequences of Donald Trump's elections lie on January 6th, and Rupert Murdoch suffered the consequences of those same lies on April 18th. But while it is the largest publicly known defamation settlement by a U.S. media outlet ever, the hefty price tag won't be enough to change Fox News at its core. The right-wing talk channel still sows doubt about the 2020 election to this day. And, the author says, I'm told by sources that the settlement that it reached with Dominion will not require its dishonest personalities to acknowledge reality and issue retractions on air. That, I think, is the biggest disservice to this settlement.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. Well, in different words, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, right? Because it allows them to essentially get, for people who only watch Fox, it allows them to get away with it, right, Aaron? I mean, they're not going to have to say, oh, by the way, everything I tell you is a lie.
Yeah, I feel like that should have been a big inclusion in the settlement. Like, if I was Dominion, and I understand they do have to make a business decision. They do have to get the money that they need to make up for the destruction of their reputation. But also, I just think something that would help their reputation just as much as getting the money to do whatever they need to do next is getting Fox to admit on air, hey, all this stuff, look, here's the texts that we sent. We knew we were lying. Dominion did not do any of this. And that they can't, like, lie about them again.
I agree. I think that the admission on air by the personalities would have been something I personally would have stuck out for and held out for. But again, to your point, the lawyers are working with Dominion. Dominion has investors and a board of directors, I'm assuming. And so they have to do what's best for their investors.
Because now it's just going to happen to someone else.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. We'll see. As Trivy said, there are a couple other lawsuits going on. Anyway, back to this story this morning on CNN. Quote, we acknowledge the court's rulings finding certain claims about Dominion to be false, the network said. So that's their that's what they settled on. They were forced to say that. Again, the quote is, we acknowledge the court's rulings finding certain claims about Dominion to be false.
That is weak. That is weak sauce.
That's pretty milquetoasty. Not a lot to chew on there. Said the network said before having the gall, they added this. So after after the first sentence, they added this. Reflects. Let's see here. Reflects Fox's continued commitment to the highest journalistic standards. So that's they're saying that the admission. I know, right? So Fox is saying that we're acknowledging that the court's rulings to certain claims about Dominion are false. And by doing so, that reflects our continued commitment to the highest standard of journalism.
Did they say which claims were false?
No, they did not.
I didn't think so.
All of them, pretty much. It's laughable, right? It's absolutely laughable that they would. But again, I'm sure they're going to go on. Their news anchors are going to say, look, this is evidence. If you wanted evidence that we were a legit news organization or that we were honest, here it is. We admit when we're wrong. That's how good we are. I mean, but all they're admitting to is that certain claims, now to Aaron's point, they're not even saying which claims, just certain claims. I'm sure every host is going to say, not on this program, but on others. They'll all start throwing each other under the bus.
It's like Howard Markline and Jay Rothman, where they're just like, it wasn't me, it was the other one.
Right, exactly. Exactly right. The case exposed Fox News as a dishonest organization like never before. It's hard for any fair-minded observer to consider the channel as anything other than a propaganda profit machine void of the most basic ethics. The case shredded the pieces, the little that remained, of the talk channel's credibility. Some observers hoped this case would proceed to trial, bringing with it accountability and exposing the network even more. It's unquestionably would have been an excruciating several weeks for Fox News. The channel's highest-ranking executives and biggest stars, such as Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, would have been forced to confront how lies they never believed were promoted on the network's airtime to its millions of loyal viewers. Outside the embarrassment Fox News would have suffered, the settlement also spared the company and its executives from being bound by the laws of reality during trial. Now, normally, article reads, Fox News sails through controversy by distorting the criticism it faces and attacking, quote-unquote, the media or mainstream media. That time-tested playbook would not have worked in court, where the judge would have forced the network's lawyers to present the jury a fact-based argument. And that's a real key here. So once you, and this is why Fox settled. Because once you go into a courtroom, a judge has enormous power over their courtroom. She or he runs the show. And, of course, they use the confines of the law to do so, but a judge runs their courtroom. So even if an attorney gets up and says, well, we have to look at this and that, if the judge knows it's BS, the judge will say, you can't say that. They'll send the jury back in the deliberating room and say, get your crap together. You can't lie to the jury. And that's what Fox got out of. More after this, including your phone calls. This is the Todd Albaugh Show, and this is the Civic Media Radio Network. Todd Albaugh Show. It is now 9:33 on a Wednesday morning. Along with Mr. Aaron Zomers, our producer engineer. What's that song? I like that.
Under Pressure.
By who?
By Queen. And David Bowie.
Oh, I did not know that. All right, Under Pressure. I like that. Yeah. Very nice. Yes, Fox News, talking about Fox News, they were feeling the pressure in the courtroom. And they caved like a cheap blanket fort built on a dining room table set at my grandmother's house. Never do that? You ever put blankets up and build like a fort on chairs and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. That was a lot of fun with my sisters. And then you get all the different stuffed animals in there, right. Bring in like flashlights. Or what we had was this little like Winnie the Pooh lantern.
Oh, nice.
That made like fire or what was like cricket noises.
Okay.
And it was glow in the dark. And we'd bring that in there. That was fun.
That's great. My cousins and I always did that at the farm. At my grandparents' farm, and we put blankets over the dining room table. I was the only boy for a long time, so I always got pushed to the side of the fort, and like half my legs were hanging outside. But that was the price you paid for being the only boy in the cousin pool.
Yep, I have 3 sisters, so
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But so Fox folded like a cheap fort like this. How do you feel about Dominion settling out of court? We're not going to hear all the juicy gossip. 715-388-7155. Again, area code 715-388-7155. We'd love to hear from you this morning. Also, coming up next hour, in our 10 o'clock hour, get your dialing fingers ready for the same number. We are going to give away 2 tickets, a pair of tickets to the Milwaukee Brewers baseball game this Saturday. In Milwaukee, they're taking on the Boston Red Sox, and a couple of big things. First of all, it's Earth Day. Can celebrate Earth Day. And also, it is going to be a tumbler. They're giving away, if you're one of the first 30,000 people there, so get your ticket and get there early. And they're giving away Christian Yellett's tumblers. And I think they're like high-quality ones. So it says it's a blue tumbler that says Yelly on it. And they're going to be giving those away on Wednesday. So we're going to give those tickets away next hour. Of course, the Brewers, you can hear them each and every game, including this afternoon, an afternoon game, on our 2 flagship Brewer stations, WRCE in Richland Center, News from the Center, 1450 on the AM side, 107.7 on the FM side. You can also hear them as you travel the state like I did. Went to Shawano this weekend. Went through the valley, as they say, over by Oshkosh, Appleton, Neenah, and Menasha. Listen to the Brewers on WISS 1100 on the AM side. I got it all the way to Shawano. A little fuzzy by the time I got to Shawano. But great signal on the eastern part of the state over there. WISS in Oshkosh and WRCE in Richland Center. You can listen to the Brewers all season long. Your home for Brewers activity, and you could be a winner next hour. A little Earth Day trivia, and you and one of your favorite friends or family members will be going to Milwaukee on Saturday. We'll give those tickets away next hour. Right now, time to go to the phones once again, 715-388-7155. 715-388-7155. Go to Green Bay. Speaking of, not quite the valley, but just north of the valley in Green Bay. Stephen in Green Bay, thanks for calling in, my friend. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you doing, Todd? It's been a while since we've had a conversation.
It is. Great to hear from you again. I am fine as frog's hair, as my granddad used to say. What is on your mind this morning?
So, I wanted to call in about the Fox Dominion debacle.
Yeah.
And I have an analogy for you. They folded like a wet cardboard box.
Yes.
And I think it's funny how there was a bunch of people trying to say that, Fox didn't do anything wrong. And then yesterday you find out that they settled out of court, and you're like, well, wait a minute, what happened to Fox not doing anything wrong?
Yeah.
It's funny how they lie until you do something to challenge them. You take them to court, you tell them they're going to have to pay money, and then all of a sudden they turn into little puppy dogs and become real obedient real quick.
And that's a great point, right? That they love to say, attack the, as they call it, the mainstream media, how we're always the ones that are right, says Fox News. But then when push comes to shove, when the law is applied, and again, I was reading from this article on CNN this morning, that if they had gone, this is why to use your analogy, folded like a wet cardboard box on a Wednesday, is that the judge would not have let them lie in court to the jury. That's one of the beautiful things about our court system, about our legal system, is that you have to tell the truth, especially when the judge has things that were found out in discovery in front of her or him, and you cannot say something against that to the jury. You're forced to tell the truth, and that's what we're going to miss, Stephen.
Yeah, and this is what I'm going to say. I know that none of us are going to change Fox News viewers' minds because they've drinking way too much of the Kool-Aid. And at this point, there are a bunch of red Kool-Aid men walking around. But this is what I will say. Anyone who hasn't fully drinking the Kool-Aid, you should be outraged that in 2023 in this country that we have state media. That is what Fox News is. They are state media, and they are state media for the Republican Party, and I think it's absolutely disgusting that they are still being funded. I think everybody that pulls an ad on that station should pull off that station immediately, in my opinion.
I appreciate your opinion, Stephen, and I would not disagree with you, but I'll simply add, yes, I think people that get up and watch Fox News morning to night are probably not going to be swayed, but I do think there's a little bit of room for folks that are casual or maybe regular viewers that once this comes out, and if they're at least willing to read about it outside of Fox, maybe, just maybe, that will slowly have them, as we talked in our last hour to Trygve Olsen, allow people to start questioning themselves. Because anything that you and I are going to try to say is just going to go off like water off of a duck's back. But if they have to look internally to themselves, maybe they'll start thinking. At least that's my hope, Stephen.
I mean, all we can do at this point is hope, right, Todd?
Exactly. Thanks so much. Appreciate you calling in. Have a great day up there in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. That is Stephen in Green Bay. You can be like Stephen. Give us a call. We'll put you on the air. 715-388-7155. Again, area code 715-388-7155. We'd love to have you hop on with us this morning. Mr. Zombers will take your call off the air. We'll then put you on as soon as we can. Continuing on a little bit more of this CNN story on the Fox News Dominion lawsuit settlement, picked it up where was basically saying, look, the judge is going to force the attorneys to present fact-based arguments to the jury. Going to force Fox that they couldn't lie in court. In other words, the article says, the network would have been forced to enter the true no-spin zone. And that's always been a no-go zone for the channel when confronting crises. Of course, a reference there to the now defunct program on Fox. Bill O'Reilly always liked to say, the no-spin zone. Going to tell you the truth. Look, he was good at it. He was a good presenter. Not going to lie about that. Got taken out with the Me Too movement and being, pretty much a creep. And now I think some other fourth-rate news channel has him on occasionally. But yeah, there was going to be no spin zone by Fox if they went to court. They would have actually had to go into an actual no-spin zone. Author continues, but it is important to note that this was only the first of Fox News' legal problems stemming from its conduct in the wake of the 2020 election. Another voting technology company, Smartmatic, is still suing Fox News. And they're demanding a $2.7 billion payment for the disinformation campaign it waged against its company. Dominion's litigation exposed some of the misconduct and damage caused by Fox's disinformation campaign, the company's lead attorney, Eric Conley, said in a statement after the Fox-Dominion settlement was announced. Smartmatic will expose the rest. So says the attorney. So this ain't over. Because I think Dominion was selling for $1.5 billion. Smartmatic is suing for $2.7 billion. Remember, reports are, and Trygve Olsen confirmed, Fox News is worth about $4 billion. Fox News Corp, plus other assets on top of that. So the $700 million that they paid out, almost $800 million, isn't going to kill them. Another billion? That's half their assets. So maybe we'll see this. Maybe we'll see more information come out with the Smartmatic lawsuit.
Maybe we can get some class action lawsuits against Fox and Ron Johnson for lying about the COVID vaccine and causing the deaths of people's grandparents, such as one of mine. Yeah,
absolutely. I heard, I caught a little bit yesterday of the Devil's Advocates, Matt Rothschild, filling in and doing a remarkably great job for Crudy and Dom, who were off yesterday. Pardon me.
Todd had to get a little sneeze in there.
It's the 944 sneeze, apparently. I don't know what is. I got to get better Claritin or something. I don't know. The allergies are coming back, and it's just crazy. Crazy. Anyway, so Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign filling in for Crudy and Dom yesterday on Devil's Advocates, and one of the callers to Matt Rothschild yesterday said that they had lost either a brother or sister in the last month or so because they got their initial COVID vaccine, but never went back for a booster, never went back for another one, and ended up dying of COVID. And they were an avid Fox News watcher. And just decided after watching Fox News, it was all hooey.
Yeah. There are real consequences for their actions, and maybe everyone can just dogpile on the lawsuits. Yeah. I doubt it, but
no,
nice.
And I think that's the tragedy here, right, Aaron? I mean, you have the money factor and commercial, people buying commercials on Fox. But the real factor here are people who watch Fox and believe it all and think it's actually news and that it's actually objective and they're actually telling the truth, none of which is true. But they soak it in, and so they take the information that's being doled out, the misinformation, and they make life decisions based on it. And that's where the real danger comes in the case that we just talked about. Your grandparent, this person yesterday, their brother or sister, whichever it was that passed away, to say, no, I'm not going to go out and get vaccinated because I'm believing all the hooey on Fox News. And then they get COVID and they die for not being vaccinated because they listened to Fox News.
But Tucker Carlson is a nice job, huh?
Right. But he's a great presenter, as they say. And that's where the real danger comes in. And again, I go back to this example I've been using it with Trygve last segment. The great example is what's happening in Richland Center, of the campus being forced to close by a decision by President Jay Rothman, still will not answer questions to the public. It's a public university, for goodness sake. But Jay Rothman and UW System have iced the public out. But now people in the Richland County area, even some who have long voted Republican, who voted for Howard Markline, once they see the facts with their own eyes. And Trygve is right. This isn't something happening in Washington or even Madison. This is happening in my community. And I'm witnessing with my own eyes the complete abdication of responsibility of Howard Markline and Tony Kurtz. I'm witnessing with my own eyes how they do not care, how they'll give a little bit of lip service. But what have they actually done? It's the same exact thing with Fox News. That once you experience it yourself and see the lies that are being perpetuated, it changes your outlook on how it works. Back with more after this. This is the Todd Allball Show, and this is the Civic Media Radio Network. Welcome back to the Todd Allball Show, the Civic Media Radio Network. It is now 9:50. That's 10 before the hour of 10 o'clock. At the top of the hour, we'll have a news and a weather update for you. Coming up in hour number 3, going to be giving away some Milwaukee Brewers baseball tickets. WRCE is one of the flagship stations of Civic Media in terms of baseball and Brewers. WISS in Oshkosh being the other. WISS, 1100 AM as you cruise through the eastern part of the state. WRCE, 1450 on the AM dial, 107.7 on the FM side. By the way, last weekend when I was back home in Richland Center, or a weekend before, I guess, for Easter, I listened as much as I could on the 107.7 side. You could get going away from Richland Center towards Madison. You could pick up a 107.7 past Spring Green, almost to Arena, on the FM side there. So a nice signal if you're driving from Madison to La Crosse, Highway 14. Dial us in 107.7 or on the FM side or AM 1450. Pardon me, 107.7 on the FM side, AM 1450, WRCE. And you, too, can listen to the Milwaukee Brewers. They play this afternoon on both RCE and WISS over in Oshkosh. You can be there at AmFam Field in Milwaukee on Saturday night. Going to have 2 spanking brand new tickets in your hot little hands. Well, they'll be on your phone. The requirements for being eligible to win these tickets, which we're going to give away next hour, A, that you did not win last month. Okay, we want to spread the love a little bit. And you have to be able to receive the tickets. You have to have a smartphone. Not our decision. It's the Brewers. The Brewers no longer do paper tickets. Used to be years ago, if you want a pair of tickets for WRCO, WRCE, you just drive down to the station and pick them up, or we mail them to you. Not so much anymore. Have to be able to receive an email, because we'll email you the electronic ticket, and then it will be, you have it on your phone, and it's scanned on your phone. That's how it works now. So as long as you have a smartphone and ability to get those tickets emailed to you, and don't forget also, we're only giving you the tickets. So you have to buy the gas yourself and buy whatever food you want if you want food there. And by the way, also the entire Milwaukee Brewers facility, as I understand it, is now a cashless. You have to have either a card or Apple Pay or whatever, but a credit card or debit card works just fine. But should be a great series. The Brewers won last night in 11 innings. I stayed up to the 10th inning. I said, I got to go to bed. And, of course, they win like 10 minutes later. I missed the hit. But that's fine. Brewers doing a great job out in Seattle. They try to get the sweep this afternoon. We'll have the game for you right here on WRCE in Richland Center and over at WISS in Oshkosh. Going to give away those 2 tickets next hour, so be with us for that. Right now, want to reflect a little bit on the fact that yesterday was tax day. And how much or how little the Treasury Department brought in yesterday will determine how long until the nation reaches D-Day 2. We're calling it Default Day, is when the United States Department of Treasury runs out of accounting gimmicks and we start to default on our government debts. Now, D-Day 2 could come as soon as July or as late as September. I should say as soon as June or as late as September. Before we reach D-Day 2, our economy is likely to be in chaos with impacts extending to the global economy. So this is why we're talking about it right now. Because the economy could start to look worse until we get there. And there's going to be a whole lot of, speaking of Fox News, a whole lot of disinformation and ginning you up, trying to get you to believe things that are or are not true. If we were to reach D-Day 2, our economy would be plunged into a severe recession, again with impacts extending to the global economy. Republicans in Congress have the ability to stop the threat of D-Day 2 by simply agreeing to raise the debt ceiling, something that Republicans did 3 times under former President Donald Trump. Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is starting to squirm just a little bit. On Monday, he floated a vague idea to raise the debt ceiling for 1 year, if accompanied by significant spending cuts. But here's the thing. McCarthy won't say what those cuts are. Initial reactions were negative from both Democrats and MAGA Republicans. So here's the deal. This has been done since God was a boy, as my former 5th grade teacher, Otis Scott, is fond of saying. But it's a terrible way to run a government, in my opinion. They should just permanently get rid of the debt ceiling.
Yeah.
Because, go ahead, Darren.
But they're just continually, with every issue, banking on the fact that the average American does not really know what's going on in the government. And so they say, raising the debt ceiling, that sounds like spending too much money, so we're not going to do it.
Exactly.
And then people will side with us because they're like, oh, I don't know what that means, but it sounds bad. But yeah, we shouldn't do it.
Right. You're 100% right. It's all semantics. It's all window dressing. It's a facade. It raised the debt ceiling sounds very similar to raise taxes. And so Republicans, what they're great at is creating a narrative. Well, we don't want to raise the debt ceiling. That's going to cost you money. No, it is not. The cost has already been done. Raising the debt ceiling, again, means that you are allowing the government to pay the bills they've already incurred. Getting some yoga in over there, Mr. Summers?
I had to stretch a little.
Okay, very good. I look over at Aaron's like prostrate in his chair there. Really back.
No, I was just bending sideways a little.
I was afraid you're going to fall out. I'm sorry, just distracted me for a moment. So the raising the debt ceiling simply means that the government, quote unquote, bought things. They passed a budget last year. And they basically put it on a credit card. Now the credit card bill has arrived. We've opened it up, and it says we owe X amount of dollars as a country for things that you already bought, purchases you already spent on, things you already have, taxes you may or may not have already raised. Now you actually have to spend or pay for the things that you did, past tense. And so raising the debt ceiling is tantamount to simply paying off your credit card bill. What do Republicans say? Have to run the government like we do our kitchen table politics. Well, when you get your credit card bill at your kitchen table and you open it up, do you say, well, I'm not going to pay that. That's going to cost me money. No, you pay it. Republicans have to pay the debt. They have to raise the debt ceiling, or otherwise it actually will cost you and I a lot of money. Back with more after this, including a Brewer ticket giveaway in Hour 3. This is the Todd Albaugh Show, and this is the Civic Media Radio Network.